Hi everybody. Today we're going to do a little something different. This is called Who What Wine Pair, Dishing It Up with Chef Tim, myself. Our winemakers right now are super busy. We're right in the middle of harvest, which is a really, really exciting time in the county and here at the winery. In place of someone from our winemaking team, we have two incredible employees that are going to be joining us today. And we're going to be talking about a couple of different subjects. We're going to be talking, of course, about their favorite wines. And then we're also going to be talking about fresh pasta and egg cookery, which are two of my very most favorite things. And I'm just super excited to be here with both of you all. So thanks for coming and helping out today. Over here, this is Janine. I'd like to introduce Janine. She is our Executive Vice President of Direct to Consumer. And she's been here for over 20 years now, right?
Over 20 years, yep.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit about your career here with the family Coppola?
Yeah, definitely. So I started in 2000 in July, and I applied to work in the distribution center, which is a really small area behind production, and basically UPS and FedEx would come drop off merchandise that was sent to us from vendors. We'd unpack it, check it, make sure it looked good, ticket it, receive it, and then put it out in the tasting room. I did that for about 10 months, and then I eventually moved over into the merchandising department, and that was fun because that's where you get to buy the merchandise and pick it out for the gift shop. So professional shopping, that was the dream come true. So I did that, and I actually put in my notice 18 years ago because my plan all along was to do that job while I was going to community college and then transfer when it was time to go to a four-year college. And I actually put in my notice with Shelly, you'll remember her. I put in my notice with her. I said, hey, I'm getting ready to go to school. I'm not going to work full-time anymore, and I'll find a job close to campus. And she said, you know, I have part-time work for you if you want to try that. And so I did.
Wow.
And just did lots of other things along the way, oversaw resorts, e-commerce, did a lot of different things, and my current role is overseeing direct-to-consumer here at the winery.
That's amazing. What a career.
Yeah, lots of fun.
So many different things. And Janine's my boss. So I'm going to be extra careful to be on my best behavior today.
You'll be just fine.
Well, thank you, Janine, and thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Janine loves poached eggs, right? So that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today is the proper way to poach eggs. And then also, we're going to expand on that idea of egg cookery because I love cooking eggs. I don't think I've ever met an egg I didn't like, whether it's a deviled egg, a poached egg, basted, over easy, scrambled omelet, sheared. You know, there's so many different ways to cook an egg. So we're going to have some fun with that. So I'm really excited. And then over here, James. Thank you so much for being here, James. James is the manager of our training and development.
Yes.
And you've also been here for
18-ish years.
Yeah, wow. Could you tell us a little bit about your history with the company?
Yeah, I started with a company about 18 years ago in 1999. I left for a little bit, so my numbers are a little skewed, but I was the tasting room manager in Rutherford when we were Niebaum Coppola Estate Winery. And then after doing that for several years, I ended up leaving the company and came back in 2006 when we purchased this property and came to Sonoma County. And so I oversaw operations, tasting room operations then, and then kind of moved and did different things and eventually events for about 3 years. And then we started training and development back in about 2016, and so I've been doing that as part of the human resource group. So all kinds of different journeys. You never know what you're going to be doing. They're like, oh, this is your job title. Oh, wait, why don't you do this over here? So done a myriad of things and had a great opportunity to work with a bunch of really great, fun people and try things that we'd never done before. So that's been the fun of it.
Yeah, good deal. Well, two of my absolute most favorite people here, and we've had, you know, I've had the pleasure of working really closely with the two of you guys over the years. So this is an extra special edition of Who What Wine Pair. So let's get started. We asked Janine and James if they could bring along their absolute favorite Coppola wine. So Janine, can you tell us about what wine you've selected and why you like it and how you like to drink it?
This looks especially good on a day like today where it's 100 degrees up here in Geyserville. We're feeling it here. So yeah, this is our Sophia Brut Rosé, and I just really Really love this wine. This is perfect because I love cooking with this wine.
Nice.
So we have the 750s, but we have them in mini cans as well.
Yeah.
And when I'm cooking, I like to just pop a can open and treat myself to a little drink to get the creative food juices going. So
I love that.
yeah, it's just a great, what I love about it is it's a nice transition between the work that you do during the day and then your second job for me, being a parent. So getting a little something to kind of just relax and savor and enjoy.
Yeah. Wow. It's a beautiful bottle.
It is.
And James, I know you taught me about this. Hey-o. That's a party. Well, you got the one that we shook up.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Just at the right moment.
Can you tell us about the wrapping here?
So the packaging, of course, because it's a Coppola product, is always an important part of what it's about. And so this is the Sophia Brut Rosé, and it has a clear cellophane on the outside, but this all started back with the Blanc de Blanc, which was the first Sophia sparkling wine, and it had a pink cellophane. And so the key is that we never removed the cellophane.
Yeah.
My friend Tim and I went to James Beard one year for a James Beard dinner in New York, and he was like, "Oh my God, I forgot something. Can you run down the street to the little store and come back?" And I was like, "Yeah, perfect." And I came back, and the wait staff had started getting ready for service, and they had stripped all of the Sophia packaging, the cellophane off, and I was like this. What?
Who's crawling into the dumpster?
Yeah, I'm like, and someone was like, "I'll go get those. I'll be right back." And so we slipped them all back on, but it was important because Francis is really particular about making sure to keep the cellophane on the outside of the bottle.
It's all part of the presentation.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Janine, I love this wine too, and especially on a hot day like this. It's so refreshing, those bubbles, those tiny little beautiful bubbles and the effervescence. It's such a palate cleanser. It's not overly sweet.
I think it goes with a lot of different food too. It's just really forgiving that way.
And I think it's a terrific pairing for eggs. I think really whether it's, it's a perfect sort of, I think, brunch wine to have. And eggs being such an important component of brunch. You know, I think eggs Benedict, I think this would be delicious, which is a poached egg. Or any egg preparation, I think would help sort of lighten up the richness of the egg, and I think it would really go well. So I love that you chose the Brut Rosé for our egg cookery portion of this.
Happy to contribute.
Yeah, cheers.
Yay.
Cheers.
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 This is delicious. Okay, so speaking of eggs, let's get right in there. We're going to start with a poached egg, and then we're going to move into some different preparations of eggs. So everybody sort of has their own mirrored kit with pans and utensils and butter to cook the eggs in. So everybody has a pot on the stove over there. So a poached egg, in the name of it is also the cooking technique, which is poach. So the definition of poach is to cook something submerged in liquid, in this case water, but you can do it in a fumet, which is sort of a flavorful broth, or any sort of liquid. You can submerge something into it and cook. The important thing is you want your water to be 150 degrees to 185 degrees, so that's the definition of a poach. Once you get up into 185 degrees, then you're at a simmer, and of course 185 to 212, then you're at a boiling stage. So 150 to 185 degrees is our temperature for poaching. So kind of the most important trick for me, I'm putting my mask on just because I'm going to come over here, is we're going to add a little bit of vinegar to our waters. Okay, it's about a tablespoon per gallon, pretty much. It's called an acidulated water. So what we're going to do is just add a little bit of water to our poaching liquid, and what that's going to do is not only is it going to sort of contribute some flavor to whatever you're poaching in here, in this case eggs, but it will also help set up the proteins of the egg. So I think that's the second really most important part of the poaching technique. First one, you have your temperature 150 to 185 degrees, and then you add a little bit of acid. It could be lemon, Classically, it's a white vinegar. You can use a white distilled vinegar or a white wine vinegar, which we used in this case. So that's sort of the basic fundamental of the poached egg. Let's get started. Let's grab one egg. And I'm actually going to take one of yours, Janine. Now to test the freshness of eggs, there's a couple ways to do it. You can always count on your nose when it comes to really lots of food products. If it doesn't smell right, it's not right. So you want to discard it. When you buy eggs, printed on the carton is usually a sell-by date. And eggs are usually good for about 3 to 4 weeks after that sell-by date. Another way to test the freshness of eggs is if you take the egg and you place it into a large container of water. So if the egg sinks right to the bottom, that means it's a very, very fresh egg. If it sort of takes its time on the way down, or forbid it floats, that's going to be a really old egg, right?
Those are the ones I let my husband use.
Exactly. Yeah. So in the egg, there's a little pocket of air on sort of the fat end of the egg, and that pocket of air will become larger and more pronounced the older the egg gets. So as there's more air in there, that would make the egg more buoyant. But it in turn also makes it easier to peel, right? I mean, if you have backyard chickens and you try to hard boil one of those really fresh eggs, it tends to be pretty difficult to peel just because there's not much air inside this egg. So that makes it a little tricky. Okay, so a poach, you shouldn't really see too many bubbles coming up from the eggs. From the pot. You should just see sort of this occasional little bubble coming up. Do we have an occasional bubble over there?
Yep.
Okay, you got an occasional bubble
very
over there?
small, delicate bubbles.
I love it.
Just
okay.
like Sophia.
Yeah. So to crack an egg, I don't usually crack it on a sharp surface. I like to crack it more on a like a flat surface. That way the shell doesn't go into a bunch of different shards. So there's different techniques when you crack it and you swirl the egg around.
That's where I always trip myself up.
Yeah, that's a little tricky.
Every time you're like, oh, look, soup.
Doesn't look good.
And then there's other techniques when you can pre-crack them in a little bowl and then sort of slide it in there. We're just going to kind of get right after it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to give the egg a little crack. We're going to bring the egg as close to the water as we can comfortably do it once it's cracked.
Okay.
And then we're just going to let that egg sink down to the bottom, okay? So just like so, we're going to give the egg a little crack, and we have plenty of eggs. So don't worry if...
Too close.
So just like that.
I'll be darned.
Mine doesn't look like yours. I can tell you right now. That's a hot mess.
Hey, that's okay. You can always crack another one in there. You want to crack another one in there? Let's turn it.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. Wait, it's pretty hot out here. You weren't kidding. The butter's melted.
The butter's gone.
Yeah. James, how you looking over here? Good?
I think I'm okay.
Oh yeah, look at those perfect seasonings. Or a perfect poach temperature. And get that egg as far cooked. Yeah, perfect.
A little better.
Excellent. Okay. Now, issues that can arise during the poaching process.
This is my position here. I'm here to show you what not to do.
My issues are,
I
one,
need another sip of the rosé before we continue here. That is spectacular. So you'll see a well-done egg is about 135 degrees. So it cooks pretty quick, right? Especially in 150 degree water. Now what you're seeing is you're starting to see the whites of the egg sort of get more opaque. It's turning from that sort of clear, sort of egg white, raw color, and now we are starting to see it sort of turn opaque. Now this is a good time to start messing with it, right? Now the reason is if we cook this as is until we think the egg is done, and we slide our spoon underneath that egg and the yolk rips a little, then it's sort of like a ruined egg, right? But if we start messing with it now and gently trying to just make sure that egg, ever so gently, Make sure that egg isn't sticking to the bottom of the pan. If you do make a little micro tear in that egg, it has enough time to sort of fix itself.
Cook itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you won't have an issue. So you just want to loosen it up just enough. How are you doing over here, Janine? Good?
Pretty good.
Did we get it off the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a happy egg. Those are two very happy eggs right there. How are we looking over here, James?
He's happy. He's just dancing around the pan.
Oh yeah, this is great.
It's never like this at home, by the way.
No.
No. Everyone's like, where's my poached egg? Where's breakfast? I'm like, I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Janine, do you like eggs Benedict, or do you like just kind of like a poached egg on toast, or what's your favorite way to have it?
Poached eggs on toast,
Yeah,
amazing.
that's a good one.
And the reason why I requested to do this is
Yeah.
I've tried and failed a couple times to do these egg Benedict breakfasts at home,
Ooh,
and it
that's
just
ambitious.
and then it just turned into a nightmare. So my culinary confession is not being able to properly poach an egg. So if I see it on a menu at a restaurant,
Yeah.
like eggs Benedict, or they put a poached egg on a piece of pizza or a burger, I'm all in. I
All
order it because I know
about
I
it.
won't do it at home.
Yeah, it is sort of a magical process. Now you can actually at this point pick the eggs up off the bottom just a little bit, just to see how the eggs cooking, right? And the more jiggly it's going to be, the less cooked it is, right? But throughout this whole process, we just kind of want to be really gentle with these eggs. Okay. How are yours looking over there? Nice. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh my gosh, that's going to be textbook. How's yours, James?
I think
Good.
it's good.
How's the white and all that?
Is it almost cooked?
Yeah, just about. Can you give me a little jiggle? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. James is just about there. Overachieving over here, James. Looking good. So you can tell with James here. Now there's different levels of poaching eggs, right? You have over easy, over medium, and over well fried eggs. The same can be said for poached eggs, right? See this? The whites are kind of set, and the yolk is still got a little bit of life to it. So if you want to, what I like to do is I like to take a little towel like this in one hand, and then when I take it out, dab it on the towel just to dry it off a little bit, and then it can go right onto that plate.
I was ready for the
Janine,
plate
you should be
myself.
just about there
Hence my
already. Yeah?
issues.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay, we'll dab.
I think
Okay.
maybe 10,
And on the
20
plate.
seconds and you're there.
All right.
There you
Oh.
go. That's a good
Wow.
poached egg, huh? Okay, great. Yeah, that's perfect. And see, when you cook it with a little bit of oil, the egg takes on this really beautiful shape. Just like so. There we go, Janine. That looks awesome.
I never thought to dry it.
That's a nice technique, just so
Right.
it doesn't, whatever you're putting it on, doesn't get too wet.
Too wet.
Yeah.
I usually over bake or over toast whatever's underneath to catch the water, but that game is over now.
Yeah, that's a little inside.
Now, is this still too jiggly?
It's probably a little jiggly.
Okay, I'll put that back in.
Some
for a
people like
little
it, but
bit.
that's probably a little too jiggly. Can you cut that yolk open so
Sure.
so our viewers can kind of see what an awesome job you did on that poached egg? I'm impressed. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
That is perfect.
Finally.
Yeah, that is terrific. Look at that
Finally.
perfect yolk. That would be about a poached easy, I would say.
Poached easy?
You cook it for another 30 seconds or so, and then you're getting into that poached medium when the yolk isn't quite so runny.
I've never heard of those terms before.
Yeah, that
was
is
the thing.
just kind of like fried eggs. James, good call. A little bit of salt never hurt, right? Just like fried eggs, over easy, over medium, over well, you can do poach easy, poach medium, and poached well. Okay, great.
Do they get mad in the kitchen when you order it that way?
No, I mean, when I cooked breakfast, the chef I first learned from, it was my first day on the breakfast shift, and I said something along the lines of, "Chef, what's it like cooking breakfast in a restaurant?" And he says, Well, our guests want their coffee 5 minutes ago, and they want their perfectly cooked eggs now. So, you know, it's sort of understandable. People are pretty particular about how they like their eggs. So, you know, in a professional setting, you get pretty dialed into making those perfectly cooked eggs. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this poaching liquid and get ready for our next task here.
Do we get to have a bite?
Yeah, please
Okay.
have a bite. Try it. Try it with the wine too. You want a little salt, Janine?
Ooh, yes, please.
Look at that.
Here's a little bit of salt.
Perfect. And what would you say that is?
I would say that's probably poached medium.
Medium.
Yeah.
I like
And there's very little room for error when it comes from the easy to the medium. I mean, it's really only a couple of degrees difference. Good?
Yeah.
You did okay?
It tastes like I actually know what I'm doing. Thank you.
Of course.
Oh my God. That's wow.
All right. All right, first egg down.
Okay.
Nice job. I'm impressed.
Yay.
Well, we got the easy one over with.
Oh, it gets progressively harder. I'm gonna need more wine.
I am going to start a few soft-boiled eggs, which is a fun technique. So I'm just going to take a few of these eggs. One of my favorites, and something my mom taught me because she always loved soft-boiled egg, and I'm sure she's out there watching. Hi. So soft-boiled eggs, really simple. You just take your eggs and you plunge them into, I would say, not rapidly boiling water, but boiling water. And you cook them for 6 minutes. When they come out, then you run them under cold water just so they can be handled, and you peel it and eat it, and it's really a delicious preparation. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these working while we work on something else. I happen to have a pot of boiling water back here, so we're going to just slowly submerge those ever so gently into that pot of boiling water. And I know Janine knows this, that I always need a timer. So I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 6 minutes. When that timer goes off, then we're just going to put those eggs inside this ice water just to cool them, just enough so we can handle them. And then we'll peel them, and then we'll cut those open to see what they look like on the inside. Okay, so now moving forward to, I'm going to get this out of your way. Moving on to our fried egg demonstration. You'll probably wonder why those beans are sitting in that non-stick pan there. That is a technique that was taught to me when I was first learning how to cook on the proper way to saute or to flip an egg. So if I have a pan over here. So this is just a great way for someone at home who's not overly confident. You know, you see the chefs on TV sauteing and things are flying up in the air. Using a dried bean like this, and when you're done with them, you can reuse them. But it teaches you the sort of technique of how to flip without making too much of a mess. So do you want to try it on your pan over there,
Sure.
Janine? And do I have any beans in yours?
Nope.
I didn't put any beans in yours. Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So the basic idea behind this is you want to sort of move forward a little bit and then kind of give it a nice little jerk backwards. And that is sort of the technique. There you go. Excellent. Excellent. There you go.
Drop any beans in the hot plate.
That's good. And
there they go.
Another
There they go.
good trick is to have your yeah, it's okay. To have your beans in the front of your pan, kind of like that,
Okay.
and then sort of move it forward, and then sort of pull it back a little bit. So that's a fun way. James, you got the technique down over here, huh?
I like to flip eggs.
You do, huh?
It impresses the brunch guest. They're like, ooh.
There we
Oh,
go.
look.
Yeah.
Maybe not that good. There's beans flying everywhere. That's
Yeah.
the grease that spatters on the stove.
Exactly. Yeah, these heirloom beans are a little tricky. So anybody at home that wants to learn how to, properly flip an egg or kind of get that saute motion down This is a great trick to do so. Here you go. You want to put the beans in there for me? And we'll make sure we use those some other way. And you can put your pan on the stove there. Let's turn it down to about 4. Okay, so let's start with some fried eggs. You want to put your beans in here? I think your burner on 4 should be good.
Okay.
Okay, so fried eggs, you can, there's a number of different ways. Someone said to me earlier, boy, I feel a little overwhelmed or subconscious when I go to order eggs in a restaurant because I don't know what to order. You know, I know what I like, but I don't know what kind of egg it is, right? So when it comes to fried eggs, you can do over easy, over medium, over well, and you can also do something which is called a basted egg, which is my favorite egg, which we're going to do here momentarily. So we're going to do a over easy first. Now, you know, I always err on the side of having the pan not screaming hot, just because you don't want that extra pressure of having a pan that's overly hot. So just like a pan over medium heat is a perfect way to get started. So we want to add about a tablespoon of our butter to our pan. The more butter, the less chance that our eggs are going to stick. And how do those? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Looking good? Okay, awesome. Now we're going to crack an egg just like we did. Here's one that got a little smoky, huh?
Well, I have that bean.
Oh, there's a
that
little
fell in
bean
there.
in there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Let's see
Here,
if we can get
I have an
that.
extra fork over here.
You know what? I should be able to. There's always one bean in every crowd, isn't there?
Right? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. So now that we have our pan over medium heat and we have about a tablespoon of oil, now you can use any fat that you'd like. If you don't want to use butter, you can use clarified butter. If you don't want to use that, you can use olive oil. Any kind of oil will get the job done, whatever you want. Olive oil, avocado oil, vegetable oil. So now we can crack our egg and we can gently place it into the pan, just like so. Beautiful. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. You'll start seeing that egg kind of set up immediately. Yeah, eggs. James is good over here. Now at this point we can season the eggs with a little salt and pepper. I like to put a little pinch of salt and a little pinch of pepper on there. Now with over easies is an egg that you flip twice. Over mediums are an egg you flip once.
Oh.
Right, so the idea behind that is the side that is up now is going to be ultimately your presentation side of the egg. So you want to cook it until it just begins to set, and then you want to flip it once, and then you want to flip it twice. Oh, there's our timer for our soft boil. So I'm just going to quickly take those out. 6-minute egg right there. There they are. We're just going to quickly place those in a little bit of ice water to stop the cooking process and just make them a little easier to handle. And I'm going to give one to Janine.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. One to James.
Thank you.
And then I'll take one. If it is too hot, there's ice water here to roll it around in. But that can just hang out for a little while. Okay, so now Janine's egg over here is looking good.
So yeah, when you see that stuff around,
Exactly.
that's where I always get a little, I don't think it's done yet.
Yeah, these non-stick spatulas are definitely our friend. You can see it's sticking just a little bit. Okay, so we're just gonna help it along the way there. But yeah, to your point, you certainly want this perimeter part of the egg to be fully set the way it is. And then this interior layer, that's a little less important at this point to have totally set up. But now we want to give that egg a flip. How do you
there we
feel?
go.
I should have brought aprons for everybody.
It is what it is. I have kids.
Yeah.
I'm used to having.
So just got to remember the bean trick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
towards
it's
the
really
front.
smart the way you slid your egg to the front and then sort of nudge it forward and then give it a good yank back.
There we
And we
go.
have lots of eggs, so
Right.
no pressure.
Nope.
Almost.
Nope.
Almost. Hey, all right.
Third time's a charm.
Now we can put that down back on the burner. And now we're just going to cook that presentation side of that egg just a little bit before we flip it again. James, you good?
Ready?
Here we go. Oh, look at that. Gorge. Nice.
There we go.
Okay. Now we're going to...
Look, it's all crispy.
Oh boy, that's good. Give it a little shake. Okay, now let me take a look, see how we're doing here. Now we just want to make sure the white is totally set up. You can see there's still a little jiggle next to that white right in here. You know, you want the yolk fairly soft. But that's just about ready to flip over again. Sorry to do that to you again.
Yeah. I don't know if I can replicate that.
Yeah, that's the thing with the over easies. You flip them twice.
Really?
Almost. Nope. Hey,
there we go.
Did it go?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yeah. And there you have it.
That looks
perfect,
beautiful. I love it.
Perfect over easy egg with fully cooked egg whites and then a nice, beautiful sort of a molten yolk. Excellent job.
Fabulous.
You want to plate that on one of your plates?
Definitely.
That is a gorgeous over easy egg. And you know, the reason you flip it twice is because you want to display that beautiful presentation of that one side of the egg. Nice. There we go. Awesome. Good deal. That is beautiful. Very nice job. You want to cut the yolk and see how you did?
Sure.
So the white should be totally set up. And it should be nice and molten on the inside.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. Nice job. Yeah, that is
Awesome.
a perfect over easy egg. James, good? Mm-hmm. Okay, and here comes James with his perfect over easy egg. So he flipped it the second time, so that presentation side is facing up and looks nice, beautifully cooked. Molten yolk there.
Not so molten.
It went a little over.
Oops. I don't like it runny anyway.
Good call.
He knew what he was doing the whole time.
Yeah. What do you think? Not bad.
Nice.
That's the over easy egg. Okay.
I'm gonna try mine.
Now we're gonna let's have Janine. Since I only have one of these lids, I was hoping maybe Janine could do our basted egg, which is one of my absolute favorites.
Sure.
So if you could add just a little bit more butter, please. And the basted egg is my favorite egg. It's sort of if a fried egg and a poached egg had a child. This is sort of what would the end result would be. You get all the benefits of each cooking technique. You sort of have that delicate steamed texture of a poached egg, but you also have that nice richness from the fat that we're going to cook it in. So here we go. We're going to do a basted egg. So we have a pan that's been preheated, a little bit of butter in there. Could you crack an egg in there?
I think that's one of yours from over there.
Oh, it is? Oh, yeah. Oh, this is the soft boil.
That would have been funny.
Okay, yeah, crack that in there. James, I would have you do this, but I only have one lid.
It's okay. It's all good.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, look at that. That's perfect. Okay, now you can season that with a little salt and pepper.
Where'd that go? Thank you.
Yep.
My pepper's blowing in the wind.
Beautiful. All right. So now we have that egg, right? And it's just starting to set up now, okay? Now this is where the magic happens. Now we're going to take a little bit of water.
Is the water room temp, or does it matter?
Doesn't really matter. Room temp is probably best, yeah. So now that egg is just going to sort of steam and fully cook in that environment. You know, steam is really, really hot, so that's really going to cook fast. And that's a great preparation. That's the basted egg.
Butter and water.
Butter and water.
With the lid.
With the lid, yeah. That's a great technique. You want to take a look at it?
Sure.
How's that looking? And these eggs, and careful because it will have that
steam.
steam coming out, which
This way.
is definitely pretty hot. How's that looking?
That looks pretty.
Yeah, see how fast that went?
That was very fast.
Yeah, it's just about there. Maybe another 10 seconds or so.
Okay.
And then that'll be our basted egg. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. So we've talked about poached, we've talked about fried, and now we're doing basted. As soon as that's done, we can peel our soft-boiled eggs. So take a look at that. Yeah, that's ready to go. Yeah, that's perfect.
Nice.
That would be considered about a basted easy. So it's like an over easy, but it's cooked in that basted style. Well, you're good over here, Janine.
Yeah.
That's a fun egg because there's no flipping involved.
Oh, I
Look
almost,
at that.
almost cracked it.
That's beautiful.
Almost broke the yolk.
Look at
Saved it.
that. That is a perfect basted easy egg. And it's relatively easy, right? You don't have to flip it, which is nice.
Yeah,
Here, I'll
this
get
is
that out of your way. Sorry.
That's good.
Um,
All right.
yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Oh
That's
man,
a perfect basted
I
easy
am killing
egg.
it today. This is fantastic. I know what I'm doing all weekend.
Going through a lot of eggs, huh?
Cooking eggs.
Yeah. So that's a really fun preparation. The basted eggs. The only additional equipment you need is just a little lid to cover your pot with. So let's peel these soft-boiled eggs. Hopefully they didn't overcook while we were sitting here, but I don't think they did. So like I said before, if the egg isn't overly fresh, they'll be very easy to peel. But if they are very, very fresh, they could prove to be a little challenging. That is why an egg fresh out of your hen is probably not the best egg for this. So now you have this, right? We'll give it a little rinse to make sure all the eggshell is off. And then we're going to just cut this open. And we'll be able to see the sort of runny yolk on the inside, just like so.
Oh.
And that's a great way to have eggs.
That was 6 minutes, right?
Exactly, yeah. And they sat here for a little longer than I would have liked. So usually, if you peel them right away and cut them, they'll be a little more molten than that. But that is, oh boy, yeah, we need some salt over here for James. Salt and eggs go hand in hand, don't
Hopefully my doctor is not watching. Shh. Shh. The salt.
they? Eggs are so delicious, so versatile. Fun fact, if you guys have seen a chef toque before, it's the pleated chef hat. They say the amount of pleats in a chef hat are the amount of ways that you can cook an egg. So that's a fun fact, yeah. Also, I thought a fun thing we could do was, I have 2 eggs in here that are hard-boiled and 1 egg that is raw. Do you want to help yourself to one?
And we're going to tell how?
We're going to be able
James
to tell.
gets to pick first? That sounds like sabotage.
Yeah. So there's a number of ways to tell, I guess. Somebody said, well, you could just crack it open. That's true. But if your regular eggs and your hard-boiled eggs get mixed up in the fridge, this is a good way to tell. So you want to stand them up on that sort of wider side and hold the egg sort of from the top like so. And you want to give it a good spin. And if it holds a nice tight spin like James is doing there, that's going to tell us that that is a hard-boiled egg. Oh, there we go, perfect. Janine, you can tell that's a hard-boiled egg too. You can see how I can't even get this one to stand up on the top at all. Okay, should we see if we're right? Yeah. Okay, good, I'm right. So that's a fun trick when it comes to egg cookery. So did we learn some stuff, I hope?
No, that's good because what we do is, I'm afraid to say this, but when we hard-boiled eggs, my husband usually takes a little sharpen. He puts HB on the end of the shell.
That's a good idea.
Just so we don't get it mixed up. And I'm always thinking, there's got to be a better way to tell.
Good call.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great job with the egg cookery.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can't just clean up our stations just a touch. as we move into our next topic of discussion here. Great job. I'm impressed. You guys can cook eggs for me any day. That's really cool. And anybody out there have any questions, or let us know your favorite way to prepare eggs. It's one of my favorite ingredients, and just an incredibly pure ingredient that is so versatile. You can, pretty much every culture that I can think of uses eggs in some way or another. So, really fun. Thank you for bringing that topic, Janine. And I hope you get some good confidence on your next Eggs Benedict project. So James, I know you wanted to talk about fresh pasta.
Yes, indeed.
Can you tell us about this incredible piece of equipment?
Thank you. This was my grandmother's, and this is a ravioli rolling pin. And so this was the key to every holiday in our house, was to make raviolis as a family. It's a 2-day process, 2 or 3 day process. But this is what we used to make the dimples on the sheet, and then put the filling, and then make the little squares. So growing up, we had raviolis that were small, maybe the size of a 50-cent piece. That's how my mom would make them. But yeah, so this was my grandmother's, and it got handed down to me from my father.
Wow.
To make sure that good care was taken of it. So,
and
yeah.
Someone almost didn't let you.
Someone almost thought they were going to take it, but I won, and that's all that matters, right? And today,
so cool.
and today, when I was going to grab this and take this, my husband said to me, "If you let that thing out of your sight, I'm going to kill you." So keep it in your sight. But a really key part of holiday making. But the reason why I asked you today about pasta is because my mother never let my father or I make the pasta part, because she always thought we would mix it too much and it would be tough. And she didn't want the skins on her raviolis to be tough. She really took a lot of pride that it was quite thin, and that you could see the ingredients inside the ravioli through the skin.
Wow.
Which, when they cook, you have to be really careful, right? So there was all these things, but she was a little controlling, right? And so I want you to teach us how to make pasta. Super excited.
I love it. Yeah, that is a natural progression of things to talk about eggs and then to talk about pasta. You can certainly make pasta without eggs, but the pasta we're going to make today does contain eggs in more way than one. We're going to be making a raviolo uovo, which is a large ravioli that is filled with ricotta cheese and then an egg yolk. And then we're going to cover it with another noodle, and then we're going to slip it into a little tomato sauce. And then we're going to enjoy that. Before we get started though, James, can you tell us about the wine that you love? And I love this selection. Very unique.
I love this. This is our Director's Cut Cabernet Franc. We're so excited to see us making a Cabernet Franc. It harkens back to the days of Niebaum Coppola Estate Winery and the property in Rutherford. We grew estate Cabernet Franc there, and it was always the well-awaited wine. And so, an incredible job done by the winemaking team. The fruit for this wine came from Knights Valley, which is the most eastern part of Sonoma County, where it touches Napa, right on the other side of Calistoga. But I really love this wine because Cab Franc tends to be not quite as tannic as Cabernet Sauvignon, and has incredible fruit flavors. The winemaking team blended this about 80%, a little bit more Cab Franc, but it has a small amount of Syrah in it, which is kind of an interesting, not really usual way to make a Bordeaux blend, but our team, of course, makes delicious, right? So.
Oh, wow. That is just delicious.
Right, full in the mouth, but soft, not overly tannic. Really delicious.
Also easy drinking red for a hot day.
Yeah, yes, right? Let's get Cab Franc in a day it's going to be 100, but...
that is delicious.
And so we know the story of Director's Cut, right? A patented process, Francis' dream, to put an antique zoetrope strip on the label. And so we had someone invent the machine that puts it on, and so it's proprietary. No one can ever do it. It's just us, and just a really cool thing. And this is colorized. Most of them are black and white.
That's right.
But we have a few in the series that have a colorized label. And what is this? What's this guy doing? Oh, he's walking, doing a handstand on the bottle with the cat or the monkey jumping. Wow.
It's
That's
kind
what I
of
did during my workout this morning.
Yes, exactly.
It's sort of appropriate for this time of year too, with Halloween right around the
Right,
corner.
exactly.
That's sort of a spooky animal on that label. Wow, great selection, James. What a terrific wine. And thank you so much for bringing this.
Yum.
Spectacular. Okay, so fresh pasta. You know, you can go online and you can find any recipe that works for you. We'll walk through the recipe that I like to do here. But you know, the only way, and I tell this with my son a lot, whether he's learning to longboard or whether he's trying to do a wheelie on his little bike, I say the only way you're going to get good at something is if you practice. So this is just the same with fresh pasta. Your first batch of dough is probably not going to be good. So you just got to keep at it. You got to keep working with it and practice. Many batches of dough is the only way that you're going to get good at it. So James, would you do the honors?
Sure.
Do you want to put gloves on for when you got to get your hands in there? Because we don't have a sink or a means to wash our hands, so it may help us in the long run. If and tell me about this. This is a cool.
So this was my grandmother's as well, and this is a cutter that we use to cut the ravioli. And it not only cuts, but it crimps at the same time. It has that kind of like a pinking shear, a zigzag. And so there was no need to crimp. You would roll with the pin and it would make the spots, and then wherever the indentation was, you would just roll the cutter and the cutter crimps at the same time it's cutting them individually. So
really cool.
yeah.
Really cool. Yeah.
And truly where my grandparents are from, my mom's parents, and my dad's parents, not really huge pasta eaters in that part of Italy. It's the northeast, so a lot of polenta, and kind of that. But someone taught my grandmother how to do it, and then she taught everybody else.
Really?
So she was a little strict too. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Things go a certain way, the right way.
That's
okay.
Awesome. Okay, so
got the gloves.
So like I said, there's a lot of different pasta doughs out there. This is how I like to do it. We have about 300 grams. Sorry for the metric. It's just the easiest way for me to do it and the most accurate. We have about 300 grams of 00 flour. That's a type of very fine flour used in breads and pasta. We have 10 egg yolks right here, so those can go right in the middle of the well, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making a little bit of a well. Now we're going to add about, I'm trying to think of the recipe off the top of my head. How about a nice big pinch of salt?
Okay.
Right here.
You know, I'm all over that salt
Nice
thing.
big pinch of salt. You can't do it without
And
salt.
is this kosher or?
It is, yes, kosher salt. That's definitely the salt of choice.
Okay.
And now we're going to add some of our incredible estate olive oil, which is available in our retail store here at the winery. If you haven't had it, it's incredible. I'll usually
Onto
put
the
about
yolk or onto the
I
flour?
usually put it into the yolk, just so it gets really thoroughly incorporated. It's about 20 grams or about a tablespoon. That's perfect. Okay, now the technique here is we want to take a fork and we want to start scrambling the yolks without incorporating too much flour at this point. We just want to get those yolks really nice and scrambled up. And then once those yolks are nice and scrambled, then slowly we're going to incorporate a little bit of flour from the perimeter. Yeah, perfect. Spin the bowl. Sort of slowly begin to incorporate that flour into the dough.
This might be at the moment you say, no, too fast, too fast, slow down.
Tim is a gentler teaching method.
Right, I'll say, I'm not even like overly sweaty or, scared or anything. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, that's looking good. Now we're going to add just a little splash of water, just to make sure everything comes together. Not too much.
Okay.
You can always add, but you can't take away. Right?
So keep just kind of going
working it.
around.
Okay, now we can take your fingers off one of your hand, yeah, and get a little flour on it, and then scrape that off, right?
Okay.
And now you can put the fork down. And then now you can start working that ball in the center, not incorporating all the flour yet, just start kneading that center part, sort of folding it over itself, right? And this may not necessarily take all the flour out of the bowl. So we don't want to work in all the flour yet. We just want to focus on that interior sort of dough ball there. And we want to fold it over itself. Yeah, perfect. Turn the bowl, fold it over. Excellent. And I tend to like a dough that's a little drier. It's just a little easier to work with, and you can roll it out thinner, kind of like what you were saying, James. Now we get to a certain point here. Now you can probably bring out that massive dough and put it here on our bench, if you will. And yeah, some of that good stuff in there. That's perfect. Okay, now you just kind of want to do this kneading technique, right? So we're going to sort of kind of fold like this, kind of fold in half and then squish down. Fold in half, squish down, just like so. I'm going to kind of keep doing that until all of that will come together. And you kind of want to be rough with it, because this is really the kneading process. And this is where you're going to develop those really nice glutens that are going to give the pasta noodles great texture. And I can tell that dough is just perfect. It's not
Already,
overly wet. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's not overly wet. It's still wet enough that you can work it, but it's not too soft. Now the next important step in making the pasta dough is to let it rest. So once James gets that nice and kneaded, then we're going to wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator for a few hours, preferably overnight, and then take it out from the refrigerator and you're ready to roll it out. How's that look?
I think it's good.
I think it's just about perfect, huh? Look at that. Oh yeah, that's great. I mean, it's tough to knead. I mean, it's firm, right? But it's not overly firm. Like, you can still fold it and knead it. So this is an excellent dough. That's great, James. Yeah, just like that. And then what you would do is, look how beautiful that is. You can see how it's already kind of starting to get a little stretchy. You can see those strands of gluten starting to do their thing. And now when we give that dough a chance to rest in the refrigerator overnight, then it'll really relax and really become this sort of homogeneous mass. And at that point, we'll be able to roll it into really long noodles, which is what we're about to do. Awesome. Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
That is
Thank
terrific.
you.
We're going to put this over here in the meantime. Through the magic of television, I have a dough ready to roll over here.
Nothing but sleep, presto.
Now this particular dough, you can see it's a little darker, and that's okay. That's natural. That's a little how do I say it? Oxidization. Yeah, oxidation. That's what it is. So that's where that little bit of a darker color comes into play there. And this is when we really start having some fun here. Okay, we're going to roll this out just until it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. Okay, just like so. And just like in golf, you don't want to hit it too long, too short, too left, or too right. Pasta, you kind of have to have it perfect for it to turn out just right. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for. Beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah, looks good.
Nice stuff. Here's a hand-rolled pasta machine, which I love. It's a great investment, and you can do all kinds of different pastas with this. So I was hoping we could all sort of come together and do this trick. Janine, would you like to put the noodle in there?
Sure.
Would you like to crank it, or do you want to get the noodle as it's coming out?
Well, I'm already here, so I guess I should just
You want to
receive
be that?
the noodle.
You want to be in charge of that?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. James, do you want to crank, or do you want to feed the noodle in?
I'll feed.
Okay, and I'll do the cranking?
Yes. The cranking is the important part, not too fast.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. You'll notice here, there's settings on this dial, 0 through 9. So depending on the consistency of your dough will determine how thick or thin you're going to want that, and also depending on what kind of noodle you're going to do. But we're going to start it below 0, and that will mean that the space between these bars is at its widest point. And as these numbers move up, so you can see 0 is about 1/8 of an inch. Once you get down to where we're going, to number 7, that noodle is about 1/32 of an inch. Okay, so it's going to be a gradual process of making that noodle thinner. Okay, ready?
And whose lucky number is 7? Francis.
Is it?
Right? His favorite number.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so
in
I'm
we
going to
go.
do the cranking. And then, Janine, when you get that noodle out, yeah, no, that's good.
Slip it
There
through.
you go. Okay.
No, not so fast, not so fast.
I know.
Sorry. channeling.
My arms aren't that long.
All right, there we go. Then you can pass that noodle back to James.
All right, James.
And then when I handle noodles, I like to have my palms down because those noodles will sort of drape over it. So we're going to go 0 to 1. Okay, ready?
Ready? Okay.
All right.
And this
Yeah.
will hopefully quickly
That didn't
turn
work.
into an I Love Lucy scene here.
If anybody can do that, it's me. Oh, flour my contact lenses. I love it.
That's how it always started at home.
Oh boy.
And so do we put any flour on it at this point?
It depends. I add flour if it needs flour. And it doesn't appear to be too tacky yet,
It's still
but it's a good question. If it starts sticking at all, then you got to put some flour on there.
crank.
Good job.
Look at that.
Excellent. Oh yeah, there we go. Beautiful.
And you know, in our family, it took 3. In the old days, it was my mom and my grandmother and my dad, and then when my grandmother got
So
too
they still
old.
don't let you help.
Yeah, no, they didn't let me help until finally I defaulted because I was the only one left. They're like, okay,
Poor James.
don't mess it up.
That's funny. And you can see what's happening to the dough here. It's certainly getting longer, and it's getting skinnier or thinner.
It's a little moister.
A little tacky. Okay, let's. Can you actually hold that up for a second.
Somebody move that.
I'm going to sprinkle.
Okay.
And mind all the viewers out there, the 3 of us have never done this before together, so I think we're doing a pretty good job. So we're going to lay it down like this, James, and then we're going to do a little bit here. Can you, with one hand, smooth that up, and then fold this part of the dough just over it like that. That's a great trick. As we continue to make this noodle real long. Okay, so.
Sorry about
Thank
the
you.
flour on the tablecloth events.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, is it in?
Yep. Okay. There we go.
Whoops.
Sorry.
Oh.
Janine, you got a tricky job coming up here.
She's like, whoa, this thing is like.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how long it gets?
Yes.
Okay, now we're
My
going to number
wingspan
6.
is not that large, so we're going to run into an issue
Flying in the
pretty soon.
wind.
Yeah. Okay. Takes a village here, doesn't it?
All right.
Okay, so this is number 6. Let's see how that noodle's done. Okay, yeah, well, we will go to 7. Okay. Isn't this fun? Everybody watching? You gotta do this. It's the best for parties too at your house. It's such a fun activity for kids or for a dinner party. Whenever we're able to do that kind of thing again.
I know my daughter is watching with my husband at home, and she's
Really?
she's gonna ask to do this weekend. I have a feeling.
You're
Poaching
gonna
egg.
be
$5
busy.
says.
Yeah.
Mom, can we do that?
Okay, you ready?
If you need a pasta crank, I have 3, so I can always loan you one.
Nice.
You know,
Don't tell
keep-
Christopher.
Yeah, I know. We keep buying them because I think if I have them, then I can, have a party and make pasta.
Right?
But then I get to it, I'm like, oh, it's too much trouble. I'm scared, anxiety.
Okay, that's looking good. I think your
Good?
grandma would approve. Okay, let's kind of lay it down here, James, and do a little foldy, little technique over there. Now, okay, now that we have this rolled out noodle, we can do so many things with this noodle,
Danger.
right? We can do so much, right? This is a pappardelle, right? There's sort of noodles like that are that shaped, right? We can do a tagliatelle, which is something like that shape, right? So, I mean, the Italians have thousands of different pasta shapes and a cool name to go with each
Right.
one. So, once you have this basic dough down, you can take it in a million different ways. You could use James's ravioli maker. You can do tortellinis or anything. And take that really cool one. It cuts it into that zigzag shape.
Fancy.
Right?
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, you can do farfalles, anything. So it's a lot of fun once you get that master pasta dough. And of course, I forget the name of the pasta, but it's rags in American. So it's basic, or in English, I'm sorry. So it's basically all these sort of funky little pieces and just mismatched shapes.
Malfatti.
That's what it is?
That's what we called it.
Yeah, so it's just like kind of whatever, right?
Yeah.
All your trim, whatever you got laying around. In fact, I was working on this recipe earlier this week, and we had a dishwasher who I know hadn't had lunch yet, so I made him a dish of that with some pomodoro sauce.
Oh.
It was just fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, so now that we have this beautiful dough, so we're going to make a raviolo uovo, okay, which is an egg yolk stuffed noodle, okay? So we're going to take one of these fancy cutters here. You can use a top off your peanut butter at home or anything that's about this size, okay? And we'll need 2 pieces per raviolo, and there's three of us. So we're going to do 6 of these, okay? So we got 1, 2, 3. Janine, you want to try one?
Sure.
We need 3 more. Awesome. Who knew you could roll pasta outside on a 100-degree day?
It still turns out.
Uh-huh.
What are we at here? I mean, one more.
One more. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right, beautiful. Okay, and then all this will not go to waste. We'll make sure we use every last bit of that. Okay, Janine, let's take you over here.
Okay.
And this is really nicely floured, so it's not going to stick. So we can actually use this surface right here. Perfect. So we have a little bit of
Ooh, what's in there?
There's ricotta cheese with some herbs, some fennel pollen, chili flake, and lemon. So it's kind of like a seasoned ricotta cheese. And a little bit of piping bag. Not everybody or nobody has a piping bag at the house, so you can use a sandwich baggie, and you just sort of put your product in there and cut the tip off.
Love
Okay.
it.
Here, I'll do one, just so you can see Janine and James. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a little area for that egg yolk to sit, just like that, okay? Now we don't want to put any cheese on that perimeter there because that's where we're going to put a little egg wash, so the raviolo sticks. But you want to create basically like a little nest.
Okay.
That one's for you. A little nest to hold our egg yolk. And James, I have one for you here.
Lovely.
There you go. Perfect.
You can never have too much
Nice.
cheese, right?
What's that?
You can never have too much cheese,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
Thank you.
That is perfect. Okay. Now what we want to
Look,
do.
it's the shape of an egg.
You want to take a regular egg? Okay, now what we're going to do, actually, can I have one?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to separate the egg into the white and the yolk, okay? So we're going to crack it. We're going to open it up like so. The yolk is going to want to stay on one side, okay? And then you kind of move the yolk back and forth until all the white's gone. And now you just have your egg yolk like so. Now what you're going to do, ever so carefully, gently plop it into the middle of the raviolo like that. You good, James? There you go. Excellent.
That's like Tabika with a quail egg at sushi.
Uh-huh.
Right? Yum, yum,
Yeah,
yum.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Perfect. Look at that.
Love it.
Looking good. Okay, now, can you crack one more egg in here, please? This
Am
show
I
is-
separating it again? Or
no,
just
just
doing the whole thing?
all in. Just crack that guy right in there. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And
oh
just
my God.
a real
that's
fun
so
thing
beautiful.
to do if you have friends
Yeah, and
over.
of course
You
I
got shell in
some
there?
Yeah, just teensy bit.
Use this. There you go. You want to give that a good scramble. Good call, James.
That cab prompt is delish.
Excellent. Oh my gosh, so fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to get your hands a little dirty.
I already did when I
Too late,
cracked
huh?
it all over my fingers.
So you just want to swirl your finger around and then just sort of slowly start applying the glue. And you don't want to do too much. You want to keep it wet enough so it's kind of tacky, that other noodle sticks to it. Perfect. Yeah, that's the perfect amount. You don't want to have it too much so when you put that other noodle on top, then they just slide all around. You want just enough. Okay, now you want to put the other pasta piece right on top, and you want to begin to sort of crimp these sides. And eventually what you're going to do is you're going to pick the whole thing up gently and sort of crimp it like that. Is that working?
I think so. Yeah,
Perfect.
there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, James, for you.
Ready? And so you always want to use the egg scrambled, not necessarily the white that you had left over.
Yeah, I like using whole egg. I think the yolk really helps kind of bind the whole
it.
thing together. If it was just the whites, I don't think it's going to have that same sort of binding quality.
Right.
How's that looking, Janine? Good?
Yeah, I'm doing the other side.
That's perfect. Look at that. That's good. Just like
Excited
this.
about this. Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right? There you have it.
And then you just
Raviolo
press.
uovo. Exactly. And then at some point, just like Janine, we're going to pick it up, James, and then you'll really be able to get those pieces of pasta stuck together. Good. All right. Now let's kerplunk them back here. So we have boiling salted water back here. Whenever you guys are ready, we can sort of gently.
When I stop messing around, okay, I'm coming.
Gently
See
plop
why
it
I
in
always
there.
got in trouble as
Holding
a
us
kid?
back, James.
That's pretty cool. Now the way we're going to test the doneness of this raviolo. Oh, there we go.
Right, there we go, right? A little crinkle.
Yeah.
It's like scrapbooking with pasta.
Excellent. There we go. So we got rapidly boiling salted water over here. Let me tilt that towards the camera just a skosh. So you guys at home can kind of see what we got going on there. Rapidly boiling salted water. So we're going to test the doneness of this raviolo exactly the same way you would test the doneness of a fried egg. We're actually going to use our senses, our sense of touch, and we're going to press on where the yolk is. And we don't want it to be firm. We want it to be a little soft in the middle still. Okay, so these things cook relatively fast depending on the thickness of your dough, the hydration of your dough, and some other variables, but they generally will cook pretty fast. So in the meantime, let's get our stoves on high, and we're gonna put the regular pan on there. And then we're going to add a little bit of this classic pomodoro sauce, which is crushed San Marzano tomatoes, extra virgin olive oil, fresh basil, and onion. And we're just going to add a little bit of this to our pan. You know, whenever you're talking pasta, it's all about the noodle. And the sauce is just the garnish. So we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to have it swimming in sauce. Okay? So we're going to add a little bit of that. And we're kind of going to get that heated up and ready to accept our raviolo.
Chef,
And then we're really in the home stretch. Yes.
are these tomatoes from the garden?
These are not, although we do have, as you know, a really extensive culinary garden. We do grow a lot of sauce tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Our season is sort of winding down, and we haven't gotten to the point of canning a lot of the harvest yet. So no, these are canned, really high quality San Marzano tomatoes. Yeah. So when we look at this raviolo, like I said, the noodle's going to be nice and tender, and we don't want the yolk to be too hard. You can still see it's nice and soft there. We don't want it too runny. We want to have it about the consistency of an over easy. Okay, and we want to make sure the cheese is hot and the pasta's cooked. And for everybody at home, these fresh noodles cook much faster than a dried pasta. So they're almost there. It's been in there for what, about 2 minutes or so. And as we learned earlier, these eggs will go fast, so you want to keep an eye on it. Anybody's water or sauce ready to go yet? Just about.
I got a little
Yeah.
bubbling happen on the edges.
Okay. Now, Janine, I know yours was better looking than mine, so I know this one's yours. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there like so. Can you kind of swirl it around a
Sure.
little bit? Maybe turn the heat down to medium or even low. And you can use a little bit of this if you want to flip your raviolo,
Okay.
just to kind of make sure it's nice and coated with salt. James has this beautiful, thank you. There you go. There we have it, raviolo uovo. And now we just want to finish the raviolo in a little bit of that tomato sauce. Sort of coat it with a little bit of this tomato sauce. And just kind of let everything come together. And then at that point, it's done. It's ready to roll. You know, you can finish it with a little butter, or I think a little bit of or estate olive oil would be nice.
Oh yeah.
So we'll do a little bit of estate olive oil in there. And then whenever you're ready, Janine, you can go ahead and plate that. It's a little bigger than our plates, but James, a little extra virgin on there.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Num num.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Boy, this was a lot of fun. You guys really did a fantastic job. So much fun getting to hang out with you guys. The sun is not beating down on us so hard right now.
No, it feels a lot cooler than it did when we started.
Yeah, so
Wind's
that's
picked up, right?
That's a nice treat right there. So if you want to kind of get in there, now you can see once you cut into this raviolo, it's like that perfect sort of over easy consistency on that egg. Is yours nice and runny too, James?
I think so.
It's beautiful. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, perfect.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm
Janine?
super
Squishy.
excited.
Janine,
Super
how's yours looking
excited.
over here?
It's like Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, it's gorgeous. Well done, everybody.
Yum.
That is not a pasta dish that you see done every day, so
Oh.
this is something very special. Good. The noodles are nice and tender. The yolk is still runny. That ricotta cheese with all those great herbs from our culinary gardens has really come together and make a spectacular
texture
dish.
Gorgeous.
It's nice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
That was
really
super
nice.
easy too, right?
Yeah.
See, you didn't mess it up. It was like you've been doing it all this time.
It was the kind voice encouraging that made it so much better, rather than that, you know,
Yeah.
the
All
wooden
right.
spoon.
Well, cheers, Janine.
Cheers. Thank
Cheers,
you.
James.
Cheers, Chef Tim.
Thank you
Cheers,
so
Janine.
much.
Thank you, James.
This was like so much fun.
Oh my goodness.
And I just want to do an extra special shout out to the incredible first responders, the fire staff, the police and sheriffs, and all these incredible people that have come together to protect us and our family and our homes and our beloved counties. So cheers to all the special heroes out there for keeping us safe, and you know, to our incredible guests too that have just shown us such loyalty and support over this difficult time. You know, when we've been closed here on a given day because of air quality or for a fire evacuation, and the next day we're open, we'll still have a great crowd of people that are coming here to support us and enjoy this incredible property So cheers to all our awesome customers out there.
Yes.
And we can't wait to see you here at the winery. So thanks everybody
Thank
for
you.
watching, and get cooking. Cheers everybody.
Cheers. That's really delish.